Hello everyone, and this is BioPhoenix here, and today we're going to be taking a look at a TurboGrafx 16 game, and that happens to be Summer Assault. And it was developed and published by Atlas, and it was released in 1992 in North America. It was also released in 1991 in Japan, but it had a different name. And that other name happened to be Mesopotamia. Now, it is interesting to note that Atlas only made 2 games on the PC Engine / TurboGrafx, and that happened to be this game and Dungeon Explorer. So anyways, this game is a running gun. In fact, that's the closest thing I can name up to it, because this game is weird. But before we get into the gameplay, let's take a look at the story first. So it begins in another world. There is a sorcerer who's trying to wreak havoc, and she does it by resurrecting some beasts which happen to be a part of the zodiac signs. So she wants to use them to take over the world. Now, before I continue along, let's take a look at this dialogue here. "Go, my dear slaves, trample and ruin the world, then it will belong to us." Well, at least they didn't pull a Zero Wing this time. But after that, a wild slinky appears, and it says, "Not while I'm here. Who are you? The one who will crush your wretched plans. You impudent fool. I will destroy your slaves first, then I will ruin you as well. We shall see about that." And that's literally about it. I don't know why, but that dialogue just amused the hell out of me when I first saw it. So yes, in this game, you are controlling a slinky that has machine guns strapped onto it, and you gotta take out some monsters that look like the signs from the zodiac symbols, and then after that you gotta go kick some sorceress's ass. But yeah, story is very simple enough, and it is also kind of amusing to me. But anyways, let's go take a look at the gameplay. So as you're using Sir Slinky here, you're just slinkling around and just shooting at everything, and of course you collect power-ups inside a maze. So you gotta get from point A to point B, and at point B there is a boss, and that happens to be, well, the zodiac sign beasts. So there are many different power-ups you can get, like you can get like a 3-way shot, bullets that bounce around, boosters that increase your speed, and there's health power-ups that increase your health bar. But of course, there always has to be that one power-up that fucks you over, like the one that reverses your controls. So while you're being a slinky, you can also jump, which allows you to reach to higher places, like ceilings. And that's the reason why I think this game is very maze-like, not just because the level design is pretty confusing sometimes, but also because you just gotta go to different playing fields to advance. Now, one weird thing I forgot to explain is that at the beginning of the game, you can actually choose your birthday. Now, I'm not entirely sure what the point of it is, but I do know that if you do put in the date of April 27th, the second boss will actually start firing power-ups at you rather than bullets that can kill you. It's kinda weird, but it does make the second boss much easier than normally. So yes, this is a running gun in a maze-style game where you gotta use a slinky, which is definitely pretty interesting. I mean, it's not like Contra where you're using humans, or in the European version of Contra you're using robots and shooting at shit. Instead, you're using a fucking slinky. And it just happens to be pink, so yeah, that's actually pretty funny, I kinda like that. So just like most games in that nature, it definitely is very simple and easy to understand, but it is also very challenging, especially some of the bosses in this game. But thankfully you do get unlimited continues, but the bosses in this game are pretty tough. And sometimes the layout of the stage can be a little bit confusing. So that's the basic of the gameplay within Summer Assault, so now let's take a look at other things like the controls. And I'd say the controls are really good in this game. So shooting and jumping is really easy, moving around is also very easy and feels responsive, but it can take some time to get used to when you're going down some stairs or up some stairs, because the mechanics in this game really do work like a real-life slinky. Or if this was any other game, this would just be fucked up, but having it in a game like this where you're actually controlling a slinky, it does work rather well. But overall, I really don't have much complaints about the controls, so I will at least say that they are very good. Now, as for the game's graphics, I think they're fairly good. I'd say the best part would have to be the bright colors, and some of the backgrounds are fairly nice looking. But as for the character designs, well, they're nothing that special. Now yes, your main character is a pink slinky, which is kind of funny. And whenever you get hit, his eyeballs pop out, which is pretty amusing. But as for the enemy designs, they're not really all that great. Because like I said, they're just not all that special. They're a little bit generic, but there's nothing wrong with that. And all the bosses look pretty much the same other than the fact that they're based after different zodiac signs. But overall, I would at least say that the graphics themselves are not that bad, they're just not the greatest looking ever, but at least the backgrounds are very bright and colorful, which I like. Now, as for the game's music, I think the music is pretty catchy. so meaning that I think it's pretty good. And for some reason, I find a lot of the music in this game sounds very positive. Now, I'm not entirely sure what kind of music can fit into a game where you're using a slinky with machine guns attached to it, but hey, this works for me. Now, the sound quality of the game does sound very TurboGrafx-like. It's kinda hard to explain it, but I've played enough of those kinds of games that I know the type of sound, but I don't think it's a bad thing at all, so overall I have to say that the music is pretty good. So now, if you want to buy this game, well, as again, it seems like I've been taking a look at a lot of games that are kinda hard to find lately, and well, yeah, this is definitely another one of those cases. So a loose hue card of the game will cost about like $75, but if you want to get a complete copy of it, it'll cost about $130, $150, sometimes even $200, which is insane. But that does remind me, I remember one time I have seen this game for $100, and it did seem to be pretty decent condition. But I ended up passing on it mainly because I saw a whole bunch of other games that I really wanted much more that were much cheaper. But I will say, paying $100 for a complete copy is definitely way better than paying $150 or $200. But if you want to get the Japanese PC Engine version, this one is actually much cheaper, where a loose one will cost about $30 and a complete copy will cost about $40 to $50. Which is not bad at all, but of course you gotta keep in mind that you gotta have a PC Engine since the TurboGrafx is not region free, at least the HuCard games. So just like a lot of TurboGrafx games, this one is pretty hard to come by. In fact, this one was not even on the Virtual Console, weirdly enough. So now, if I were to rate this game, and oh yeah, that's right, I'm not doing that shit anymore. So instead, I'll be saying, so now, as for my overall thoughts on the game, I think it's a very innovative take on a running gun. But not only is this game completely unique, but I actually think the game is quite fun. So I like a lot of the different power-ups that you can acquire, and the game is a really good challenge. So if I say so myself, I found this game to be pretty enjoyable, and even for a game on the TurboGrafx, it's very overlooked. So yet again, when it comes to good old Atlas, they take a very simple idea, make it very weird and crazy and shit, but the game ends up turning out to be very fun. And I'm always a fan of that when you take weird ideas but it ends up working out quite well. So that being said, I can definitely recommend this game if you do want to play a running gun, but of course if you want to play one that is very unique, and also provides a pretty good challenge. So that'll be the end of this review, and man, it feels so weird not doing a score, but hey, we'll move on and I'll get used to it. But anyways, so that'll be the end of here, so thanks for watching, commenting, and have yourselves a great day.